You don't have money and you get kicked out of your home and you don't have a job? Ask yourself, suppose we didn't do that. And the entire industry that required people to leave their homes and pay money at a restaurant, at a shopping mall, at every place that required people's presence. They would be out of a job and homeless. Oh, let's do that.
So I recently stumbled across this clip. And by stumbled, I mean it was shoved in my feed like a protein powder ad of Patrick Bet-David debating Neil deGrasse Tyson. And I've got to say, watching PBD try to school a literal astrophysicist on economic stimulus was like watching a guy with a globe explain gravity to Isaac Newton. Now, let me say this once, and I will say it 1,000 times until it tattoo etches itself on the brain of American history. The GOP are economic frauds. They break the economy, torch the House, sell off the fire hose, and then blame the Democrats for the water damage. Then when Democrats come in, patch the walls, turn the lights back on, and get the dog out from under the porch, suddenly Republicans show back up and go, wow, look how good this economy looks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Learned during COVID and all the stimulus and the free money that maybe printing money and free money isn't the best solution for people, like using UBI as an example?
Allow me to comment on that.
Yes, sir. Feel free.
Okay. What you're not considering is, okay, so we have this inflation, all right? This past year is 8% or whatever. It'd probably be lower this year, but still 8%. Well, yeah, we were printing money. And so that there was some inevitability to that. So people who don't like the politics of that argue against that and saying we shouldn't have printed money. What was the fucking alternative? You don't have money and you get kicked out of your home and you don't have a job? Ask yourself, suppose we didn't do that. And the entire industry that required people to leave their homes and pay money at a restaurant, at a shopping mall, at every place that required people's presence. They would be out of a job and homeless. Oh, let's do that, because that's a better solution than having a little bit of inflation 2 years after you have a stimulus package. People don't do enough thinking about what other consequences would have taken place had decisions been different. It's not just simply don't do the package, that way we won't have a little bit of inflation a few years later. That's not really the metric that's going on at that time. Think it through. Now, if you can say, I'd rather not have the inflation, and I don't mind millions of people kicked out of their residence, homeless, with no job, then that's a decision, as long as it's an informed decision. You can prefer that. It's a free country. You can prefer that and vote that way. For me, we have the power to print the money, keeping people in a job through the crisis. I think that was one of the wisest decisions, economic decisions that could have been made at the time. I guess that's my opinion.
No, and that's perfectly fine. When you say think it through, who would disagree with that? You know how like they do like in South Korea, they with the help of U.S. forces, they do war games. Okay, well, if China does this and we're going to do this, and they do it through a 1,000 different ways of seeing what happens.
Our military,
these war games, all these things that happen, and then different
all the time.
Different methodologies, different. Why don't they do stuff like that with like COVID? It's like, okay, cool. If we're going to lock down the world and we can't have money, we don't have jobs, and everyone's losing their jobs, all right, we're going to print money. Like, why doesn't the government do something like that in terms of like war games? So like the next time COVID happens, because it'll probably happen.
The problem is
we don't have to print all this money.
It was a once in a century.
We hope, knock on wood.
Well, statistically, it was once in a century.
Yes.
The previous one was
a black swan event.
The previous one was 100 years earlier, and so we went a century without a pandemic. So I don't know that solutions we put into place today would be the solutions we would choose 100 years from now in a next pandemic. So yes. The scenarios are good to explore. Yes, you can ask how much money was pulled out of the stock market when society closed down. That was that V drop that we took.
Yeah.
And by the way, the market went back up within 18 months. It was higher than it was the
Yeah.
day before